Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day once more. Taking a look here at Solana, seeing what's going on. 219 at this point, and doing pretty well. It actually pivoted off that 210 to 212 range. Unfortunately, my alert at 211 never triggered. It kind of just bounced off like 211.50. So we did miss a long opportunity, but on the flip side here, there is potential. We could see Solana pull back a little bit further there now that Bitcoin's retracing, but it does look fairly strong. We got a local point of control here, roughly at about 216. So decent chance we see a pivot off that local range and the price continues higher. So we'll talk about that and a few other key factors that are important to note on Solana. In the meantime, I want to say thank you so much to those who've been an amazing part of my life. Deeply appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you. If you're new to the channel, you've been working with us for a while. Again, awesome to have you around. Bitcoin did have a $1.3 billion purchase, basically in 15 minutes or less. So there's a lot of buying pressure this morning. Price pumped up past that $100,000 mark. So the expectation is that Bitcoin should cool off to that $100,000 range, and that altcoins may follow suit, but certain outliers will probably be like, no, forget you, I'm just going to keep going. Right, so we're going to try to pay attention to those and identify those. Solana does appear to be one of those so far, but I don't think we should just prematurely jump in. But on the same accord, we should be kind of mindful of what's going on, and just a simple fact that that the pairing between Bitcoin and Solana is important to recognize. So we'll take a look at that. So let's take a quick look at the backend data here first. When we take a look here, we can see 223 upwards of 226 is that next area of liquidation to the upside, right? So that's just in the last 12 hours. Keep in mind this is kind of a faster scenario here. So now that we're lower though, we're at this 218 mark, it would seem sensible for, once again, 212 to 215 to be swept here before the price ends up either bottoming out or recovering. Again, I only mention that just based on purely on liquidation here, because that's what the last 12 hours is telling us. We look at the last 7 days, this could paint a different picture. And it does for the most part. In other words, it basically just tells us here that we have a significant amount of liquidation still at that 210 mark. So as you continue to kind of zoom out, you'll see more and more liquidation potential at that 210 level. So I'm still very interested in along at that range. Now, the dynamic could change if we see 210 again here soon, so we got to recognize that you don't just blindly jump into a long position at 210, even if we were to get there, but that does seem like a very practical entry point. But at this point, Bitcoin's cooling off a little bit, starting to see that retracement, but we may not see that significant pullback there for Solana. Let's take a look at the back-end data here, and this is something that kind of leads me to believe that the price should cool off a little bit here. While 1.2 billion isn't a tremendous amount for Solana for liquidation long delta, what this does tell us is that it's been too high for too long. So basically, we've seen this in basically two and a half trading days. We've seen that liquidation delta be high for a while. And market makers see that. And what they do is they notice, well, there's a lot of resistance here, a lot of selling pressure at the 220 mark. So we're going to go ahead and sell a lot more, contrary to all this buying pressure, right? What that does, that takes the late longs in the 220 range and pretty much liquidates them. And then it opens up the opportunities more for market makers at 210 to 200. So just kind of throwing it out there, that's roughly what we're looking at here for Solana. Decent chance we do see a bit of a pullback just based on pretty massive overextension there. We take a look here, once again, 210, open interest. This reinforces the support at this level, and that leads me to believe that it's still a good solid entry consideration. Again, the big if we're going to even see that. We may not, even though Bitcoin's pulling back, Solana's not ripping down here quite as hard as a lot of altcoins right now. So this is a very positive sign for the most part here with what we see. Okay, so I think Solana is performing quite well contrary to Bitcoin. Let's take a quick look here. I'm going to clean up the charts for a moment, and what we're going to do is we're just going to take a quick look at the weekly here and get you some perspective where overall moving averages still looking very strong. There's nothing here really kind of letting us know that we're in bad shape. While Bitcoin has a lot more staying power, so to speak, and the weekly chart looks better for Bitcoin, we can still see that we're maintaining above all moving averages. Nice little relative strength index, a bounce off 50 there from about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Our money flow is still good. MACD's trying to converge, kind of plateauing more so, but stochastic is starting to shift gears. Just kind of an early sign letting us know further upside would seem sensible now that we've tentatively broken this descending trend. And I say tentative from a macro perspective because that's exactly what it is. From a smaller time frame here on the daily, we can see we've broken bullish roughly about 3 or 4 days ago. And that's generally a favorable sign. So further upside, again, is still probable here at this point. Take a look here at the daily, though. We can recognize we're over 50 on the RSI. Check number one, love that. Money flow index is significantly higher than the RSI, and that generally instills sustainability. We can see here, even though we're right there at that point of control, that kind of lets us know that we're in a support range around the 215 to 220 mark. MACD's converging. We're above most moving averages, still under the 50. And again, until we break soundly above 220, I don't think we've truly broken bullish as far as, no resistance is above us, if you will. But for the most part, again, we got like 9 out of 10 reasons why taking a long is much more sensible than taking a short. The only thing we got to worry about is just, again, how Bitcoin behaves over the next 24, 48 hours. Is it gonna pull back sub 100,000? If it does, I think most altcoins are going to respond poorly to that. But if Bitcoin can maintain 98 to 100K or just say 100K plus, I think most altcoins are going to continue to do what they're doing right now, which is, for the most part, surging in the upward direction. So that's just kind of the overall sentiment there. If we take a look at the 20-day SMA, we're above it. So again, until we break below this 216 mark, I think we're still fairly bullish on Solana. Even if we come back down to 210, I'm still fairly confident that we're going to be in good shape, because you see a lot of convergence here, right? The 200-day and the 50-day SMA, they're going to be hanging out right there at 210 if and when we get there. All right. So again, just some friendly advice here. You don't short into that kind of confluence. Even though we do have one moving average above us in the daily time frame, you can't you can't short into that. It makes no sense. Now again, I'm sure there's probably somebody online that shorted at 221 or something, and they're posting right now with their open trade on a high leverage trade, showing how badass they are at that level. Okay, but again, all it does is show us how stupid you are taking a short into a bullish uptrend. It doesn't make any sense right now. Okay, so again, no offense if you're that person. Likelihood of that person watching this video is pretty low, but on the same accord, it would be nice if they saw it so they could talk some sense into them. But again, that's just kind of the nature of the beast, right? That's how crypto is. Unfortunately, 95%, I would say, of other potentially just say influencers and or just people in the market, they really seem to think that that's how trading works. And I like to kind of change that dynamic and hopefully help people understand that, man, trading is not a gambling tool. I mean, if you're a gambler, cool, yeah, I mean that's exactly what it is. But truth is, you shouldn't flip a coin and hope for the best when you take a trade. You should know for sure that the probability of further upside or downside makes a lot more sense when you take the trade. And right now the trend is up. The trend's your friend. Let's stick with some longs. Try not to be a short idiot here. Okay, so take a look here. We're over 50 on the RSI, reinforcing positivity here. Money flow index is rather low, but that's only because we had low selling pressure or buying pressure over the weekend. And Mondays are oftentimes very flawed. So be careful, on Mondays on the smaller time frames with money flow index, because they do have a tendency of giving you some false positives just because volume dries up over the weekend on average. But either way, we are, again, about 9 out of 10 reasons here as to why a long position makes more sense and to not short into this. This is another reiteration here as well. We take a look at the Ichimoku Cloud, confirming that 215, 216 is a likely support range for us. So again, while the price could still break down below 216, it's less likely that that's going to happen, and the odds of sustaining 215, 216 is higher. Once again, Bitcoin moves towards 100,000. We'll probably see this level here tested and kind of averaged in. But for the most part, everything here is telling us that a long position makes way more sense than taking a short. So as per usual, I pretty much said this, I probably sound like a broken record, but if you're going to take any kind of trade right now, taking a long makes more sense. But if you're to wait for a better long position, that is a much better way to go. Even if it doesn't happen, you'll know that you waited for the right opportunity and you just didn't get that opportunity, right? Instead of forcing a trade, you're much better waiting on for a trade that never happens. Okay, so again, it was really refreshing to see some people in my community earlier today say that, hey, while we missed our Solana entry at 211, 210, we can rest assured and know that we made the right decision by not FOMOing in. Okay, so again, for the most part, that's generally always going to work. All right, it's not an exact science though, folks. This is an interesting market, interesting game. You always got to be careful and be on your toes. So that's where I like to come in here. Hopefully, give you some sensibility in the market and just try to help guide you if possible. Not everyone's going to listen, but those who do, I'm thankful for that, and I'm glad that you appreciate what I offer. So thanks again. Don't forget to like the video, comment below, join us over here at Bitunix too. A nice little reward for volume if you are a high volume trader and get a Rolex and or MacBook Pro choice versus that or USDT. And then the same thing here as well, posting our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, or Discord. Make sure you reference this as well here soon because it's all available for you. I hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll look forward to working with you. Thanks again. We'll see you next one. Take care.